sweetie. Lucy, hi. Oh, thank
Okay,
you.
we're live now.
Cool.
Lucy.
Where's oh geez, I'm way too tired to do this apparently. Where's Aaron at?
Our paragraph. Should we just read our things, I guess? Our examples?
Yeah, let's see if we can get Aaron on real quick.
Yeah, right.
She hasn't even been checking the messages.
Oh, the Astros won. Cool.
Did you just see that?
Yeah. We don't. Oh, hi, Lucy. Hi. Oh, Lucy, Lucy, go away.
I think she seems more interested in this than the rest of us.
Sorry. Yeah, I guess, unless it's the Blue Jays, no one really cares up in Canada.
Yeah, my cousin was super distraught. He's from California, so he was really
Nice.
hoping for the Dodgers, but
Nope, not this year.
I bet Quentin will be pretty bummed.
I bet you he's a Padres fan.
Oh, really? Because he was talking last time that he really wanted to go to the game.
Oh,
but
really?
He had like take someone to the game or something. Can't remember.
man, the tickets yesterday were super expensive. There's like a couple grand a ticket for the cheap ones.
Man, that's wild.
Like buy a new used car or watch a baseball game.
I guess if you don't need a new car.
Yeah. Didn't even look to that message. Oh.
I was looking.
Yeah, she get.
Nope. I know. Can you go over there, please? Thank you. Oh my. Hi. Okay, go sit down.
Hey, Jake, I've been meaning to ask you this. Did you work at Skizzy's like a couple times?
Where?
At Skizzy's.
It was a bar that was converted into a dance party place.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Did you work at Sammy's or Zeke's?
No. Nope.
Okay. Must have been someone else who looked just like you.
Uh-oh.
I have a doppelganger. That'd be pretty sweet. Definitely should get them to take.
Hey, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
No worries. So we've been going for, I don't know, 5 minutes.
55 to go.
55 to go. So how's your guys' week?
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. How'd you guys do in the exam?
Not too bad.
What'd you say, Aaron?
So bad. I thought I was like really doing good, and I was like, this didn't seem too bad. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Gotta do that appeal.
Oh yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. How much did you guys get back on the last appeal?
I didn't do it on the right day, so 0.
There.
I can't remember because I didn't do like all the questions I missed. Maybe like 3 or 4 points for each one.
Yeah, I got 14 points total.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got 14 back. It was awesome. I wish I would have known because I would have done the first appeal.
Yeah.
First appeal. I just
You're
decided I
telling
didn't
me.
care that much. Yeah. I think that probably sucks. But...
Is what it is.
All right. Well, should we read our examples?
Might as well.
Let's do this.
I can go.
All right.
All right. I'll just read it. I had a professor who was an amazing person who clearly overcame an area of bias, which is familiarity, even though, which is familiarity. Even though we had an exceptional relationship, as I'm a TA for one of his classes, this professor would grade me the same as every other student when I was enrolled in any of his classes. There was a situation in which I had not met the criteria on a certain assignment and was docked marks. This professor had kept true to the rubric and overcame this area of bias and docked me the marks that was necessary. So yeah, that's my example.
Cool. I can go next. So I like phrased mine like it was a hypothetical, but it actually really happened. So I said, Skylar is a new move-in from a rival high school. He was a quarterback at his old school and wants to try out to be the new face of Juav's football team. The current quarterback, Nick, is the coach's son and has played quarterback for Juav football since his freshman year. At tryouts, it is clear that Skylar has more skill than Nick. However, when positions are posted, Skylar was assigned second string. And I just said that this was an example of familiarity, that the coach was biased against this new move-in and chose his son to be the quarterback.
Shoot, coach. Are you the son?
No, I'm not.
You're the other quarterback, aren't you?
That's screwed,
Still
man.
bitter after all these years.
I go back, I'd be state champs, no doubt.
How much you want to bet I can throw football over the mountains?
I can go.
All right.
It said Company A has attachment to Company B because they have spent 20 years doing business together. Each year, Company A goes out to bid for 5 companies for their raw materials because they have attachment to Company B. Company A informs them of the competitor's pricing so that Company B is able to get the lowest price. So just on attachment.
Cool. I guess what's the difference between familiarity and attachment?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering.
Because it seems like in order to be attached, I guess you could be attached without being familiar. Like
this is just more vague of like it says has strong business reasons to remain.
Okay. So maybe familiarity is more like
that's the reason that they're attached.
Like person to person. And attachment's more like maybe business to business. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about that?
I got the article up right now and I'm just trying to read it. Your familiarity relates to how people are willing to harm strangers rather than individuals they know. And then the example they give for attachment is about how like they want to have good, strong business relationships. So I am kind of thinking along those lines that familiarity is more like an individual basis, and then attachment might be more, I don't know, like company to company, like you said.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. I can read mine real quick. I did mine on approval. I talked about, I said, when I turned in my English paper, I thought it was good, but not great. And though I maybe deserved a B for my work, and I thought I deserved a B for my work, when I got my grade back, it was in fact a B. My wife, however, had read my paper and helped me revise it and thinks that I was cut short and that I deserve an A because it is a good essay. After a while, I begin to agree with her and think more of the paper that I wrote and the time that I spent and think that I should appeal the teacher for a higher grade. Yeah, that's mine. So.
Cool. Now if we just want to discuss like parts of the article, the remaining time. Do you guys have any parts of the article that stick out more?
Let me go back and see what I could recall from reading it.
I just think it's interesting that like basically towards the end of the article it talks about how like it's an impossible problem that regardless of how many like new laws that you come up with to kind of prevent it, it comes to an individual basis of choosing to do the right thing, and sometimes the right thing is hard to see because there's so many like unnoticed biases that come into your life.
Yeah. Going along with that, also at the end of the essay, just in like the radical remedies part, I thought that first paragraph was important where it talks about how the key to improving audits clearly is not to threaten. Because I feel like, cause as an accounting major, like going into auditing, like they're just like threatening your job if you don't do it correctly and all those other things. Like that's one thing, but if it's more along the basis of like, well, there's no incentive for me to do wrong, so I may as well not. I feel like that's the easier choice. And you'll probably have a better working relationship with your peers and your supervisors and such.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of expectations too when like you think that you should be treated as such because you have a relationship in a certain way, right? But that's not always the case. I mean, it should be the case, especially with business too. I mean, I think many people have had experiences with someone where you think that because you know them or because you know someone who knows them, you should get a deal or whatever. But that harms the person who's running the show just as like that money's got to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah, this is like a stupid example, but I saw this thing on Facebook yesterday that I thought was kind of interesting. It's like one of those memes, and it was like, oh yeah, I didn't spend $20,000 in like a year of my time to go to hair school so I could give you a haircut for free. Like that's what everyone kind of expects. Is like, oh yeah, you're a hairdresser, you'll do my hair for free, but they put in a lot of work to get to that point, and it's just because of whatever relationship you have, you feel like you should get the better deal.
Yeah, I definitely experienced that a lot because I'm a photographer. And all the time, hey, could you bring your camera? Hey, we're thinking about doing this. Would you be willing to take pictures? And it's hard because you don't want to destroy the relationship with that person. But at the same time,
the damage has been done, Kevin.
The damage has been done, right, Dean? So, like, you have to... you need to know when to say no. But for me, at least, I just say, oh, yeah, sure, we can do that. What's your budget? And then they go, oh, like, we don't really have much of a budget. And I'm like, okay. And then it just usually ends there. Like, but what do you guys think are things like, I mean, obviously you can put as many laws as you want in place, but what are some detractors of, I guess, what detracts people from having increased ambiguity in business?
like I'm not usually for this, but I think that like outside sourcing, like for example, I work at a cement plant, and like it's a big industrial industrial plant, and so we get audited by MSHA, which oversees all the mines in the entire country. And so when MSHA comes in, they do a safety audit. They're checking everything that could be a potential hazard, and the plant gets fined like a ton of money if they don't like adhere to the guidelines that are set. And so I like having that big brother, so to say, or that big entity that covers all of the safety. It keeps everyone on their toes to make sure that we're doing things right, because if you don't, then there's a major consequence. So I think it's important that like there are things put into place where there are consequences to actions.
Yeah.
About like at work, we're doing this like RFP thing where like for all the apparel on campus, they just wanted to have one vendor. And it was like super easy to see the bias in it. Like even with me, I was kind of like, there's one specific vendor that's like not fun to work with. That I was like, I like hope they don't come in with the lowest pricing because there's kind of nothing I can do about it with that. But just like we met with a bunch of people after when we were deciding who to go with, and it was very much like one person wanted to go with a certain vendor because they had a close relationship with them. But then I was like, okay, the other 3 people involved were like, well, we can't do that. Like, there's a lot more to consider, and that's very obvious biased. I think just having enough people concerning certain matters that on the right line.
Yeah, we had a similar situation. So in the summers, I think I mentioned this before. I'm an operations manager for a Vivint installation team, and we have like a lot of expensive inventory in our offices. At any given point, we have probably $200,000 worth of inventory. So it's expensive equipment, and every now and again we'll get audited, and they always outsource the auditing every single time, just because it's a lot easier for the auditors to just say, sorry, we're going to dock you this amount of inventory because you're missing it or whatever, if the levels don't match digitally with the physical. Whereas if my managers came, the regionals, it probably would just be, hey, Kev, your levels aren't right. Try and fix it, bud. Just like, because they have come, and that's what they say, just because they don't want me to lose money, which is what happens if my inventory is off. But when Blackstone comes, if you're missing inventory, they make you post that loss right there. So it's good because it keeps you on your toes, but it always ruffles feathers, right?
Yeah. And like a lot of you mentioned, like just like sourcing is really fairly important because it just gets rid of that incentive to not do the right thing. Like if you're an auditor, like the outsourced auditor, you have no connection. You come in, if something's wrong, it's wrong. You bring the chopping block, unfortunately for some people, but like it's better for the company as a whole.
Should we work on this paragraph?
Sure.
You can, yeah.
I'm just looking for content.
And there's also some other guide questions if we wanted to.
Okay, yeah.
But
Wait, are you guys all married?
No.
I am.
Nope.
Kelton? Oh yeah, it's just your girlfriend that took the class. That's right. Any more heat from the prof?
What was that?
Any more heat from the school?
No, man, that was probably the worst week of my entire life. That was
Really?
oh man, that was just like the icing on the cake. That was pretty bad.
That's scary stuff, dude.
Yeah, and
That's
so now we're into ethics, and so that's awesome.
salt on the wound. So, what do they want our paragraph to say again? I should probably reread this.
This just says, when your group is finished with the discussion, take 5 to 10 minutes to write a paragraph telling what was the most important or interesting insight your group gained from the discussion. And we just turn it in one person like normal.
Okay, so I think we have to probably talk some more before we tackle that.
We got 40 minutes.
Hey, I count 38. I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Oh, sorry. 2 minutes off.
Get it together, Jake. Yeah, what were those other questions that it?
Yeah, screen share as we all kind of see it real quick.
Oh, I want the individual assignment.
Any of these look interesting to anybody?
Ambiguity. It's fun to say.
I think he's really going to check and see if this is an hour long, because I don't know how long I can keep this up.
We can, let's just, I say we just go through them. Let's just read them and then talk about them. The title of this unit is ethics, but according to the article you just read, at least in the case of auditors, teaching auditors about ethics will not have an impact on bias. The author suggests education that helps auditors understand the unconscious errors they make and the reasons they make them. For business students and others who will not be auditors, what kind of education, if any, will help future business professionals avoid bias? Is it pointless?
Yep, pointless.
Good talk, Jake.
I
think
go ahead.
For someone who's been audited, having that experience and understanding that it's going to be the same for any person, regardless of the situation, race or creed, is important. But yeah, do you guys think it's pointless?
No, I don't think so. Just because, like, I think one of the greatest ways like a business manager could avoid bias is just creating like really detailed company policy. Like, you treat customers this way, and you do this, and you use this, and if you make it all encompassing, where it's not subjective to what type of person you're dealing with, then I think that like you can create company policy that eliminates a lot of the bias. Like, I know it's still going to seep in, but I think that the better the management, the less likely you are to run into issues with it.
Yeah, I've actually experienced that with my own team, more so with culture. Just someone's watching Stranger Things. Sorry. Just where, I mean, yeah, we had a similar layout where like, hey, it's expected that you do X, Y, and Z. And whenever there was an issue where if someone hadn't done those things, then it would be really easy to say, hey, so you know that this is the standard and you didn't do those things. So now we're having a conversation about it, right? But like when the standards are clear, it makes it a lot easier to have a conversation about it.
I agree. All right, I'll read the next question unless anyone has anything else they want to say.
I also agree.
Okay. Okay, cool. The next one says, the author suggests that the status quo, the universally accepted practice in the United States of how audit firms are hired, paid, and work with companies they audit results in bad audits. Do you agree? Why do you think that Congress passed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act? I can't read. There weren't more radical reforms like this one suggested by the authors.
I agree.
What was that act again?
What?
What was the Barnes? What is it? Sarbanes-Oxley Act.
I don't know.
Well, I agree that it does result in some bad audits. I wouldn't say that it's like the universal stamp, like, oh, you're working with them and you did their audits, probably a bad audit. I just think it gives a larger opportunity for bias within the system because you'll want to do people favors because you'll want to favor them in a way that also favors yourself. So I think that it's just dangerous. So unless you have someone that's going to have a lot of integrity and not want to boost their own pay grade, then I think it's not 100% going to guarantee a bad audit, but more than likely, eventually.
Are you guys familiar with the Exxon fraud situation?
Enron?
Enron, yeah.
Decently, yeah, but you can recap.
No, I want you guys to describe it to me because that has been throughout all of my business classes, they always bring that up as like the number one example. But I've never really understood what they did. I think what they did, but please correct me if I'm wrong, is like that they had an inside with it was insider trading basically, where they were releasing information to people so that they could invest and pull out at the right time. But I'm not sure. What do you know about it, Kevin?
I'll go to the room, dude. You can get strange. You get strange with 11. As far as I understand, it has a lot to do, with insider trading. And basically, like, how do I give an example? Okay, there's a movie from the 80s where I forget what it's called, but basically these guys decide that they're gonna make a lot of money with the stock of oranges. So what they do is, like, they own this company and it owns a lot of shares in oranges in Florida. And to get rich, one day they sell all of their shares, like all of them. And because they do this, the price, or like the price for oranges goes down drastically. And they devalue the market like crazy because they have a lot of shares in oranges and they sell them, so it devalues it. And because they're doing this, everyone else who has shares in oranges does the same because they think that there's like been a frost or something like that, so they sell their oranges. so then the value for oranges go down even more. It gets to the point where it's worthless, and then these guys buy back a ton more shares, like their same amount that they sold earlier, but they buy back more, and they end up making like a lifetime of money in like seconds, basically, because they just gamed the system. And I think it was something akin to that at Enron, but like more so on a company level. Like,
So
hey,
I just I googled it, and Wikipedia is pretty dope. So it says by the use of accounting loopholes and special purpose entities, and poor financial reporting, they were able to hide billions of dollars in debt from failed deals and projects. And the chief financial officer and other executives not only missed Enron's board of directors and audit committee on high-risk accounting practices, but also preserved the CEO to ignore the issues. So pressured the CEO to ignore the issues. So basically, they were doing incorrect auditing. So it appears in the stock that they had billions of dollars more than what they actually did. They actually had billions of dollars in debt, and so their shares were up to, it says they were up to $90.75 per share in the mid 2000s.
When
it plummeted to $1 by the end of November for 2001. So in a year they went from $90 to $1.
Yeah.
So were
Good.
they people at Enron do the auditing?
Yeah, it was their executives.
Is that
Like,
a
it
normal
was
thing that
CEO
companies
and
do?
CFO trying to make themselves, because they just own the majority of shares, and when it got up to the high, they sold them all, and that's what crashed it. But before this act that President Bush brought out, the CEO wasn't liable for any of that, so they were, I guess, basically let off the hook and made tons of money. Have you guys ever seen the movie Fun with Dick and Jane?
Oh yeah.
That's basically what happened. Like, that is basically making fun of Enron, is that movie. So that's a easy way for me to understand it, at least, is watch a funny movie. So
have you guys ever heard of a book by Clayton Christensen called How We Measure Your Life?
Oh yeah.
So do you guys know who Clayton Christensen is?
Yeah.
Jake?
I think so.
He's like one of the great Harvard minds. He's also at LDS.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So that book, How We Measure Your Life, if you get a chance to read it, it is fantastic. But he talks a lot about like ethics in that book, and he talks about Enron too, and how he knows the guys who went under for Enron, like they were classmates of his at Harvard, and how he never thought that they would have gone to do anything like that, but how it's like a slippery slope, right? You know, you think you're going to do X, and then all of a sudden you're doing Y, and it just keeps going down the path, and all of a sudden you're the CEO of Enron, and you're like, yeah, whatever, let's do it.
Yeah. I can start simple,
What do you think?
too. Just using company money to do things that aren't for the company, and like it's just basic ethics. Like, it applies to like non-accounting things, and it goes pretty fast if you get on it and slow down. Because if you don't get caught, you just stretch it a little bit more each and every time, and it's dangerous.
I feel like I've heard this story like from 5 different classes here. It was always like the one where they're like banking people. They would like weigh. It was like a long time ago, but they would like weigh the amounts of money. And then like one time they're like, "Oh, will it like notice if we just take a quarter?" And like, "Oh, it didn't." So they're
Yeah,
taking a quarter every single day, and then like the manager caught them, so they're like, let's make this bigger, and like, or else I'll tell about this. And then it just got like huge that like half the company was stealing money. Just like, yep. And it started with a quarter.
Oh yeah, was that B211? And and then they give you the quarter. Yeah. I lost something like right away. But yeah, it's definitely, it starts off really, really easily, you know? Like I remember that I used to work at McDonald's in high school, and it was like so easy to just make food and then eat on your break, you know what I mean? And not have to pay for it. Totally lead to other things if you let it. That could lead to you just absolutely stealing money, which some kids did, you know, from the company and stuff like that. But what do you think is like a fail safe for people to do to avoid getting caught in something like that?
Again, I would say the internal controls of the company is huge. And then like hiring quality employees is also big. But what I've learned from my own experience too is like people make mistakes, and when you do make mistakes, like if you,
are you referencing something specific there, Kelton? Or...
No, not at all, not at all. But like what's been kind of cool through this whole experience is like super humbling, because like I just thought of like I didn't even realize how big of a deal it was, like at all. Like I was just like, whatever, you know, like this is just a dumb assignment. Like I'm busy, I have a million other things going on in my life. I'll just hurry and get this over with. And so, you know, you kind of compromise your values a little bit, like something that you like would never think that you do, but you do it. Like that was like the hardest part, is like getting caught and not realizing that it was bad,
right.
You know. And so like I had to go, like the next Sunday I had to meet with my bishop, and I had to get my endorsement, right? And it's not like I can answer, oh yeah, I'm honest with my fellow man, when you get caught cheating, you know.
Right.
So I went through that whole process and like explained everything to him, as far as like, hey, like this is what it was. And his counsel is actually pretty cool. He just talked about like the natural man in all of us, like it's there, you know. You're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna do stuff sometimes that you thought you'd never do. And when you do that, like that's what the atonement's for. That's what Christ came here to do, is so that you can make up for those mistakes and you can move on. And so like I know like a lot of what we're talking about is like bigger deals, but like how little deals lead to bigger deals. But like I think that even in a company, I think like from this experience I've learned that if I ever have employees that make mistakes, like steal a quarter, like there's a teaching opportunity there to prevent a much bigger problem. And that's what our professor did for me, is like he stopped something very little, and he has changed my life and extended a complete mercy that's taught me a whole bunch that's gonna change the rest of my life, you know.
How different do you think you would have reacted if they kicked you out of school?
And like that's what I thought was gonna happen, you know, like that's what they kind of like tell you. So like I was prepping myself completely for it, and like it was something so small that like I was really bitter, like thinking about that, like you're gonna kick me out for this. And I started like pointing my finger at the school, and then like I just got the biggest slice of humble pie, and I realized like this is nobody's fault except for my own, you know. Like I can't blame the school, I can't blame their policy,
right?
Like I made that decision. And so like I think it's different for everybody, you know. I think that there's going to be some people that are going to go in and they'll fight it tooth and nail. There's some people that'll be submissive about it, but I think like the point is that there are policies, there are rules, for like teaching and learning opportunities as well with all of that.
That's good to hear. Like it's interesting to hear too, you know. Because I've definitely met some people who have made a bad call, and maybe it was dealt with in a pretty harsh manner, and they totally just went off the rails. Like they're just totally, they want nothing to do with the church anymore, In a situation like that, it's it's exactly what you said. It's a teaching opportunity.
Yeah, and like honestly, because like I've been on the other side of this, like my whole, like that's the thing, is like this is all a new experience for me, because I've tried my whole life really hard to not ever have to like seek mercy, and so this is like my first time like receiving it, and it's like it's been such an eye-opening experience for me, because like I think that the church teaches one of two ways. It's like there's so much mercy offered, or there's so much punishment, and like people will live their life in fear of the punishment, or they'll live their life just expecting that they'll receive mercy. And there's a definite balance between those two. And I think that a lot of times people, like, through this whole experience, like, nothing has hurt my testimony, that's for sure. Like, my testimony is rooted, but I just know that these are a lot of secular things. Like, it's pretty scary to, like, realize your future in this life can be completely altered by something stupid like that. And so, like, I think that, like, I don't know everyone's situation. I don't know everyone's, like, counsel that they received, or bad bishops or good bishops, or bad professors or good professors. But I just know that, like, you, at the end of the day, you choose to take it to heart to affect your testimony. And that was just something I wasn't going to let happen,
Yeah, absolutely.
And with that, like, there's people that I know that like kicked off their missions for whatever reason. There's like the side that take it as like, yeah, I made a mistake, like shouldn't have gone out in the first place or whatever reason, and like repent of it and make things right. And there's people that's like, well, this means the church isn't true, and like completely leaves. So yeah, it's just like kind of like how you react to making those small mistakes, and just like, okay, am I gonna fix it, or am I just gonna be resentful for it?
Yeah. And it just goes to like, are you willing to accept that you messed up? Because like we all do, obviously. So it's just like, are you gonna fight it? Or are you gonna, like, obviously, if you like do something like obvious in school, like they're gonna catch you. Like technology is just ridiculous. Like they just copy and paste it over and like, oh, yep, definitely. And you could have chosen to be angry and bitter, but instead you like humbly accepted it and like sought forgiveness. Like you didn't try to fight your way out of it. Well, should we get started on our paragraph?
Totally.
Interesting.
Most important or interesting? Which do we choose, interesting or important?
You're saying like we're all gonna at some point face bias.
I think that's true. I mean, I think we're just that. At least the most interesting thing for me is the stuff that Kelton's brought up.
Yeah, I think we should write about what Kelton talked about. I think that is also most important too, probably, when it comes down to it.
I'm just spitballing here.
What was this?
Thanks for the spelling and grammar checking as I wrote.
I was just speeding the process along. Just
Yeah.
fix it. I'll just right click, edit it. Sorry if that made you self-conscious. I wasn't trying to be overbearing there. I was just
No.
going along with what you were doing. So
That's perfect. Whenever I write anything, I need spell check. If I don't have spell check, then it becomes Reformed Egyptian.
as long as you understand it, it's fine, right? Yeah.
I didn't think there was like any requirement on how long the paragraph needed to be or anything. And I think that sums it up. So.
Okay.
I can put a link on there if someone would be willing to submit it.
Yeah, I can submit it.
Cool. So anything else you guys want to talk about? I think we're close enough on the time.
I don't know. We got like 9-10 minutes left.
You guys watch Stranger Things?
Oh, yes.
No,
It
wasn't even about exactly. Because I just keep hearing everything about it on Facebook.
Jake, you need to watch it.
Is it
That's all it
scary?
comes down to.
That I don't do scary.
It's not
So.
scary. It's jumpy, but it's not scary.
Oh, we'll see.
I've been really into The Walking Dead lately, so maybe after that series, then I'll switch over.
This is better.
I'm just rewatching personally. So. I think we're good.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
See you.